imagine being his teammate and hearing that? Not even being on the opposition. Your teammates already know he does that shit. Imagine being on the opposite side. You see Lawrence Taylor lined up. No offense to the brother, but you see them lined up, and you still like you're the quarterback, and you see he got a little, maybe a little bit of weight stuff left, maybe. But you see that the nigga's a little acting a little different, and looking a little, terrified and shit. Looking a little different. Imagine that nigga coming full speed while crashed out, coming full speed at you. You better pray to God you have a good offensive lineman, because if not, he'll probably break your quarterback's leg.
I don't give a fuck about that shit I was talking about. I don't give a fuck about that shit that they talk about. Money coming in like a big rate. Money coming in like a big safe. Loaded up, smoking up, talking out the cake. Ski mask, come for the loot. Yeah, come for the big bag, bitch. I want your loot. Cake, yeah, came for the big bag.
Alright, yo, it's the one and only the side loner TJ. Welcome everybody to a special reaction video in which today we will be reacting to, arguably in my opinion, the greatest defensive player in NFL history. That I feel like to this day, he's still number one. I know people are going to say, what about Ray Lewis? What about Aaron Donald? This, that, and the third. Has any of them won defensive player of the year and MVP? As a defensive player, being still to this very day in 2026, the only defensive player to ever win a MVP and won Super Bowl MVP and helped revolutionize the position. Not only that, the motherfucker was on crack! And also, you guys have seen the gameplay of the game that he created on the channel a couple times. By the way, I have a wide receiver cornerback video that I have to kind of re-edit and put that out. That was from may or may not have been a year ago. But neither here or there. Lawrence Taylor was a once-in-a-lifetime specimen. And if he played in today's era, I don't even think he's lasting 2 or 3 years in the league, because they will probably kick him out of all the crazy shit he will do. I mean, the motherfucker was one of the, looking back at the footage, he was one of the only defensive linemen that was dead ass standing in the wide receiver stance running full speed at you. Can you imagine a nigga like Lawrence Taylor running full speed at you? You guys as well pray to God. Because imagine him and Ray Lewis on the same defense along with Aaron Donald and fucking J.J. Watt or Reggie White. You're dead. You're a dead man. You're a dead man. So let's get into the video. Shout out K2O.
National Football League. No player has ever been as intimidating as
Lawrence Taylor.
When I say Lawrence Taylor, what comes to mind?
Fear.
It didn't matter if you were an average player or an all-time great. They were all terrified of him.
He said, what happened? I said, that man told me he's gonna kill me.
Not only was Lawrence Taylor the scariest man to ever play the game,
Son, I gotta do better than this.
he was also the most wild and reckless.
You see what I mean?
I still can't tell you some of the Lawrence Taylor stories.
There were times I'd be standing in the huddle, and instead of thinking what defense we were playing, I'd be thinking about smoking crack after the game.
Well, you gotta understand though, it didn't affect my play.
Can you imagine being his teammate and hearing that? Not even being on the opposition. Your teammates already know he does that shit. Imagine being on the opposite side. You see Lawrence Taylor lined up. No offense to the brother, but you see them lined up, and you still you're the quarterback, and you see he got a little, maybe a little bit of weight stuff left, maybe. But you see that the nigga's a little acting a little different, and looking a little, terrified and shit. Looking a little different. Imagine that nigga coming full speed while crashed out, coming full speed at you. You better pray to God you have a good offensive lineman, because if not, he'll probably break your quarterback's leg. Oh. Spoiler warning. How do you think how Blitzkrieg came about? How do you think how that game came about, bro?
Multiple drug arrests. This is the story of the greatest defensive player to ever grace an NFL field.
Hey, baby, let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs and have some fun.
But damn it, I respect
This
them.
may be the last ad you ever see. Because with the free ad block extension from Capital One Shopping, you can say goodbye to ads on sites like YouTube. That's right. No more interruptions, just non.
Now, as some of you may remember, I made a video about Lawrence Taylor 9 years ago, going over some of the crazy lore surrounding him. That video was only 6.5 minutes long, so I felt like it was time to make a much more in-depth video about LT. We will look at his career as
Oh
a
yeah,
whole
by the
and
way, sorry to pause it again, y'all, but since we're gonna be back with the
what
NFL
made him
reaction
a
and shit.
special player,
We'll do more
as
NFL
well
reactions.
as the wild off-the-field stories that have become notorious.
Oh my God.
Lawrence Taylor didn't grow up playing organized football. He was a baseball player.
I was the catcher. When I hit a ball, nobody say I got it. They say I go get it. Okay?
It wasn't until his junior year in high school when a coach challenged him to join the football team.
He said, you need to come out and play football. For the first 6 weeks, man, they just kicked my ass. And guess what? The next game, I got better. Then I got better. Then I got better. And end up All-American.
Over the course of 2 years, Taylor went from learning the ropes to completely dominating, earning a scholarship to North Carolina. After arriving on campus, it took a while for the coaches to figure out what to do with this guy. Taylor was athletic and tenacious, but raw. They tried him at nose guard, which didn't really work. Then they tried inside linebacker, and that wasn't a great fit either. Finally, they tried him at outside linebacker, and this is where everything fell into place. Taylor's combination of explosiveness, size, power, and relentlessness gave him an edge coming off the literal edge. He was doing things linebackers just weren't doing, and
Exactly.
he racked up an unofficial school record of 16 sacks his senior year. It was a season that made him widely considered the best defensive prospect in the upcoming NFL draft, and arguably the top prospect.
That was a stat class.
Prior to the draft, there was a
the
poll
fuck got
taken of
drafted
all
anymore?
28 GMs in the NFL on whether or not they would take Lawrence Taylor number 1 overall. 26 of them said yes, and just 2 said no. And one of those 2 GMs that said no was Bum Phillips, who just so happened to possess the number 1 overall pick. As a man of his word, Phillips took running back George Rogers instead. This gave the New York Giants the opportunity to snag Lawrence Taylor.
First round selection, Lawrence Taylor, linebacker, North Carolina.
Big
This was
mistake by New
thrilling news to the
Orleans.
entire organization, including the coaching staff. The team's head coach was Ray Perkins, the defensive coordinator was Bill Parcells, and the linebackers and
Oh God. I'm sorry, does my memory serve me correct? Who's those 2 guys right there? They kind of look familiar. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that guy on the left, he ended up being our coach eventually, but that guy on the right, he looks very familiar to me. I can't put my finger on it. It's like, I was watching him most of my life win Super Bowls for my team. It's like, at some point in time, he ended up being the greatest coach in NFL history, but also coaching the greatest player along with the greatest defensive player at the same time. I mean, I don't know. This guy over here, he might end up being the GOAT.
special teams coach was Bill
Shout out Bill
Belichick.
Belichick.
In game 1, the team's defensive coordinator
Man,
Bill
oh,
Parcells
man.
was hard on him.
And I told Bill, I said, Bill, either cut me, trade me, or put John Scorpan back in front of me.
Parcells coached like an old school hard ass, and
He
for
did.
these types of coaches, typically the harder they are on a guy,
The more they want them to
believe in
succeed.
Parcells was the master
My boy
manipulator
Tyler.
when it comes to the mind, and he'll make you so pissed off
Look
psychologically.
at
He took
my
out the
goats, man.
first round of
Look at
NFL
my
history. You get
goats.
cut in training camp.
Look at Edelman. Look at Edelman and Tyler
Privately,
getting along,
Parcells told some
man.
veterans, quote, "I like that LT. That mother effer's got a mean streak." Taylor was going to be number 98 since that was his college number, but because of a rule change, he went with 56. And shortly after
Made that
training
number
camp began,
iconic.
it didn't take long for Taylor to make his presence felt.
I had to work my way, from the third team to the first team. I had to work my way. It took about 3 minutes, but that
Nigga said 3 minutes. Nigga said 3 minutes. Shit, that takes niggas years, months, weeks. Nigga said, that shit took me 3 minutes to do though, but it was a hard climb, you know what I mean? Nigga said 3 minutes. Nigga said 3 minutes.
Okay.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't understand.
As a rookie, he
Nigga.
wreaked havoc at outside linebacker.
He had one man. One man who's blocking with his right and with his left. took him.
Backfield. And with
This
Bill
is the
Belichick
beginning.
as the linebackers and special
This is only
teams
the
coach,
beginning.
Belichick put the young rookie everywhere.
But we had you covering punts. We had you covering kickoffs.
Oh, yes.
We had you on kickoff return. We had you blocking field goals, and you were the wing on field goal.
Hey, I never left the field. I just camped out there.
He learned quickly and made up for his mistakes with how fast and easily he could get to the quarterback. His supreme athleticism allowed him to have success lined up pretty much anywhere on the field as a defender.
You ever seen in your years a better rookie linebacker than Lawrence Taylor? No,
He's a rookie.
I think he's the best
He was a
rookie
rookie.
linebacker that I've ever seen.
After
And John
playing
Madden
against Lawrence
saying
Taylor
that.
in an exhibition game, Steelers quarterback Terry Bradshaw said the following, quote, "He dang near killed me. I just kept saying, who is this guy? He kept coming from my blind side
Oh my
and
God.
just ripped my ribs to pieces."
When I first came to the NFL, it was like a man playing with boys.
Taylor was the driving force behind an
He's a rookie saying
unbelievable
this.
revival of New York Giants football. Prior to his arrival, they had been one of the laughingstocks in the league for nearly 2 decades.
Giants hadn't won a daggone a playoff berth 15, 20 years, right? They didn't care no more. They weren't excited about winning. They're just going through the motion. And I refuse to go through the motions.
Pretty early on, his teammates started calling him Superman. Phil Simms, the team's quarterback, said, quote, "On the pass rush, he's an animal. He's either going to run around you or over you. With his quickness, he's full speed after 2 steps."
First down, Lions.
Look. This nigga is a rookie. He is a rookie. He just came out of college. Nigga's the same age as me. Over here saying this was a man going up against little boys. In a span of 2 seconds, he done got past the defender and threw him down with one arm. Boom. Not even, went right past him. Even though, again, horse collars was a thing back then. But nigga just yanked a man.
You talk about strong.
Nigga just yanked him in with one arm.
The Giants hadn't made the playoffs in 17 straight seasons. They had been atrocious the previous year with a 4-12 record and had one of the worst defenses in football. Head coach Ray Perkins was on the hot seat entering 1981, and rookie Lawrence Taylor quite literally saved his job for the time being. Taylor was not only the best rookie in the NFL, but he was also the best defensive player overall, winning Defensive Player of the Year.
As a
LT's rookie year, I mean, this guy could do it all, okay? Offense, defense, special teams, wherever you wanted him to play, he would have been a great two-way player if he had played in a two-way era.
One moment that stands out was on one particular play where Taylor's assignment was to drop back into coverage, but instead he chose to rush the quarterback, and he ended up with a sack. Defensive coordinator Bill Parcells was not happy about this and told Taylor what he did was not in the playbook. Taylor's response? Well, we better put it in on Monday because that play's a dandy. Long story short, they put the play in on Monday. When you're as good as Lawrence Taylor was, you get to dictate the terms.
Yep.
The Giants had gone from near dead last in points allowed
He was
as a
there when he was the
defense
face
in
of the
1980
franchise.
to 3rd in 1981. Even with a bad offense, they still found a way to end the 17-year playoff drought.
Because
with
think
a
about
9
it. Lawrence Taylor was part of that. Well, let's just say, obviously around the time in the 80s, you had Chicago Bears defense glowing up. Still had the Giants with Lawrence Taylor. San Francisco was slowly on the rise. Then, then down the line in the 90s of the Cowboys. Cowboys and Niners still had good defenses. The Giants still behind Lawrence Taylor. And that kind of set the standard for how Giants football mainly is. Trust me. I would know something about the Giants defense being annoying. Damn you, Justin Tucker, Michael Strahan. Just couldn't let us breathe for 2 fucking seconds. What's ya? Lawrence Taylor's the GOAT. Let's get back to the video.
And
before I
beyond
reminisce,
that,
but Lawrence Taylor was
Taylor
the face
was
of the
a
franchise.
one-man army in their wildcard game versus Philadelphia.
We put him out.
And Reggie White, too. I had Reggie White in that era also. Shit. Jack
playoff
Lambert.
game.
Like, again, the Hall of Famers in that era was stacked.
And
Lawrence
his
Taylor as a
touchdown
rookie was number
wasn't
1.
fair catch. Well, he should have.
Henry comes up to handle. He's fumbled, and the Giants get the football.
Taylor forced fumbles on 2 punts, amongst an already dominant defensive performance by him that ended up being the difference in the game. The Giants went on to win that day, and despite a loss the following week, Taylor had gone from promising rookie to the biggest star in New York. He had transformed from Lawrence Taylor to LT. Now, before we continue, this video is brought to you by SeatGeek. This summer is going to be awesome. The MLB is in full swing, the NBA and NHL playoffs are in their final acts, the NFL schedule is out, and the World Cup is just getting rolling. And with over 70,000 events available every day on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports festivals, and more, there's definitely something you'd enjoy. So why not have some fun this summer? For me, personally, I'm going to be getting out to a few baseball games. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. And SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. Green means good and red means bad. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And if you're a first-time user of SeatGeek, use my promo code KTO for $20 off tickets. That's $20 off your first purchase with promo code KTO. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Shout out to SeatGeek for the sponsor. Now let's get back to the video.
Yeah, you know what's odd? If something's free, people just can't resist it. Doesn't matter what it is.
Wow, is that pink shirt free? Yeah, I need one.
But what really baffles me is that people turn down free money by not switching to Geico. Customers can save $900, you know.
Oh, free bank shirt?
Yeah, it's not quite, my... excuse me, sorry, do you have this in extra small?
Nah.
Oversized is in. Totally.
One thing about football, I know what everybody is doing on that football field. I know what the tackle's doing. I know what the nose tackle's doing. I know what the both linebackers doing. Hey, I know what the DB's doing. All the safeties. I know. Only person I don't know what the hell is going is me.
By the end of his rookie season, Taylor had officially established himself as one of the league's top players. He had helped revive the New York Giants almost single-handedly, and he was officially one of the biggest stars in the bright lights of New York City. His presence on the football field was terrifying.
Mike Barber slips past, LT rushes. I cut him, and y'all linebackers, y'all don't want to be cut.
Don't do that.
No, he grabbed me by my arm. Hey, you mother! Don't you cut me? You hear me? So I'm standing. I'm like, I think you're gonna laugh. You hear me?
What'd you say?
Yes.
That's Eric Dickerson. That's one of the greatest running backs of all time, saying to another grown-ass man after he said, "You hit me?" Yes, I. Brother done ran out of space, fucking cut. But, bro, imagine Eric Dickerson, one of the best running backs of all time. A top five running back. He goes back to he talks shit to, now he's talking to Sean Taylor. All Sean Taylor asks is, "Do you hear me?" He says, "Yes. I'm taking my ass back to the huddle." That's the right appropriate response. The fuck you gonna say to Lawrence Taylor? You gonna make him even more mad? More pissed off? Fuck no. Yeah, you know what, Lawrence Taylor? My fault. I didn't mean to, cut you like that. I didn't mean to do that, See, the quarterback wants you to protect them. But, if you want me to, I could just let you get past. As long as you don't hurt me, right? We good? Right, Lawrence? The following play is probably going to boom my shit. Literally, bro.
I leave the field. I go to the sideline.
LT was named the Defensive Player of the Year once again in 1982.
Back-to-back years.
A year that overall saw the Giants struggle and make the decision to fire head coach Ray Perkins. This resulted in the hiring of defensive coordinator Bill Parcells to be the new head coach.
Perfect
and
fit.
One of the first moves that Parcells made was promoting Bill Belichick
the defensive coordinator.
And over the next few years, the defense led by LT became notorious for their
later
absolute dominance. In the 1980s, there were two notably dominant defenses
Chicago,
that became famous for their schemes.
Chicago and
New
York.
The first was the 46 Bear defense led by Buddy Ryan in Chicago. And then there was the Big Blue Wrecking Crew, the New York Giants 3-4 defense highlighted by their 1986 squad, and most notably, their linebacking core, which also had its own nickname, the Crunch Bunch, featuring Gary Reasons, Harry Carson, Carl Banks, and of course the star of them all, Lawrence Taylor. Legendary former NFL head coach Joe Gibbs once said, quote, "The Giants drove me crazy. They gave me the most fits. They were the opposite of Buddy Ryan's Bears defense. They played that soft, two-deep zone that didn't allow big..."
I'm gonna break down the difference between New York's defense and Chicago's defense. Chicago ran a 4-6. It was mainly stopping the run. That was the main important thing. That's the main thing for that defense. Stopping the run. That's why Dan Marino and the Dolphins are the reason why they got that 15-1 record. Because they threw the ball a lot. But in that era, it was mainly about running. What they did was say, we have a once-in-a-lifetime specimen. We can line up in a 3-4 defense and only have 3 defensive linemen and 4 linebackers. Why the fuck would we need an edge rusher when we have fucking Lawrence Taylor? Lawrence Taylor could be that extra edge rusher, comes off the outside. Who the fuck is stopping him? No tackle, and definitely not no running back. That's a free sack, and it's a free disruption every single play. Meanwhile, they still have 2 safeties deep, 2 corners, and 3 linebackers in the middle, while Lawrence Taylor is coming at you. What decision do you have? It's either you try to fucking... This is back then, so you can't do a read option. Read options weren't really a thing. Even unless you have like a Dan Marino or Joe Montana. I forgot. Future references. They took out Joe Montana. Yeah. There's a lot of shit that went down, bro. This defense was revolutionary, bro.
While those mid-80s Bears defenses primarily relied on overwhelming the offense with relentless pressure, the Giants did not have to send the same amount of pressure. They could basically play a bend-don't-break defense and just let guys like Lawrence Taylor do their thing.
Just get to him.
The thing that was revolutionary about it was basically that they had LT. His skill set allowed Belichick to change the role of the outside linebackers in the scheme. Traditionally, 3-4 outside linebackers primarily served a reactive role that focused on stopping the run and dropping back in coverage. With LT and the bunch, the role shifted to being a primary aggressive pass rusher off the edge. You see, before LT, offensive tackles were an afterthought on the offensive line. Teams would focus on putting their best linemen at center and guard. Then LT started destroying quarterbacks at an alarming rate, causing league-wide shifts to put the best offensive lineman the team had at left tackle.
Do you understand how revolutionary that you have to be to the point where you have to make niggas actually care about a position? Niggas wasn't caring about the tackle position. Lawrence Taylor comes into the league. We need tackles. Literally, bro. That's part of the reason why tackles are very important nowadays, because you don't want niggas like Lawrence Taylor coming at your quarterback. That's how nowadays. You don't have niggas like Myles Garrett and TJ Watt coming full speed at your quarterback, and you have a shit left tackle. I gotta bring up my own PTSD from the fuck happened in the Super Bowl. Fucking Dexter Lawrence and the cornerback blitz, because, you know, our line, but hoping we face them again in Seattle, we kick their asses.
Time tackles were smaller than they are now, which allowed LT to completely overwhelm them with either speed, power, or both. Teams began to draft massive athletic players to the position, which began its change into what we see today. Currently, you could make a strong case that the most impressive athletes in the NFL are offensive tackles, due to their size, strength, mobility, speed, and technique. Also, their stance on any given play changed because of LT. They used to stand like this, but shifted more so to this to deal with his speed off the edge. Before LT, the offensive focus was on the middle linebacker, but of course LT changed that, and offenses began to adjust and build a whole new offensive system around LT's impact.
It revolutionized the pass rush because we always thought of, you're in a 4-3 and you got the 2 defensive ends with their hands in the dirt and the 2 defensive tackles, and all of a sudden...
Again, this is shit I'm talking about. Nigga, everyone back then was in a 3-point stance. This nigga Lawrence Taylor was the only motherfucker lined up like this. This looks familiar? This looks familiar. It's a wide receiver stance. As a fucking edge rusher, as an outside linebacker, coming full speed at your quarterback, while niggas is in 3-point stance, this nigga was lined up like a wide receiver. I digress. If y'all think I'm just glazing, bro, I'm just spitting facts, bro. I'm just being honest. Niggas was doing a 3-point stance. Lawrence Taylor was in a wide receiver like position, coming full speed. He made niggas change their stance.
Wait, a linebacker is unblockable off the edge. Nobody ever thought of that.
Coaches would design special game plans just for playing against him. Joe
But
Gibbs
Walsh a
usually
mastermind.
plays with X's and
Joe
O's,
Gibbs another
but for
mastermind at the
Taylor,
time.
He just wrote 56 on the board. Also, this desperate clamoring to bring in better offensive tackles and change offensive schemes was accelerated by one particular haunting incident. in
Ah, shit.
1985.
Ah, shit.
I would walk home from school. You'd be at home. Mom had to go do something. Come home, make a little snack.
Shit.
Quickly, Lawrence Taylor is up, saying Theismann is hurt. And I don't believe Lawrence Taylor would have reacted that way unless Theismann is really hurt.
In an instant, quarterback Joe Theismann's career was over. LT pounced on him, and it resulted in Theismann's legs snapping in half. The image, which I chose not to show, was a harrowing reminder of how terrifying football can be, especially when you have a monster like LT.
Mind you, this is the same injury Alex Smith had. On the same field, on the same yard line. But just that with Joe, it was nothing really he could do. Same with Alex Smith and J.J. Watt. Nothing Alex Smith could do. J.J. Watt's one of the generation defensive players. That's how they came down. Because Lawrence Taylor, like, even go back at it. Like, the way how Lawrence Taylor, like, went to him, Joe Theismann was trying to, like, go under. But since he couldn't go under, Lawrence just, just dragged him down. And then the moment he's bent over like that, your leg is like this. Your leg is straight. So it's either you try to, like, I honestly know there's nothing you could do. You're fucked. There's nothing you could do. If you're getting, like, snatched down like this and your leg is still straightened out and you going down forward, and shout out Joe Theismann, man. Shout out Joe Theismann, bro. Shout out Joe Theismann. Glad that brother's still doing good. But that's literally what kind of got him the whole game.
Quarterback Joe Theismann's career was over. LT pounced on him, and it resulted in Theismann's legs snapping in half. The image, which I chose not to show, was a harrowing reminder of how terrifying football can be, especially when you have a monster like LT coming full speed at you. And honestly, it probably didn't bother anyone more than LT himself, who was deeply traumatized by the moment.
Theismann's like, did you don't want to talk about it?
Yeah, but I don't like talking about that.
At the end of the day, as Joe Theismann said later, LT wasn't a dirty player. He was just better than everybody. And if there was anyone out there who didn't believe that by the end of 1985, there were no doubters by the end of 1986.
Hi, I'm Lawrence Taylor, and I'm honored to receive the Gillette NFL Most Valuable Player Award for the 1986-87 season.
That season, LT elevated beyond his superior play into the supernatural.
With niggas like my God.
He produced an eye-popping 20.5 sacks to lead the league. And along with winning the MVP,
in a league where Joe Montana was in his prime, Dan Marino was in his prime, you still had Eric Dickerson running around. You still had, I think, Earl Campbell was still 80s. Yeah, Earl Campbell was still doing his thing. This nigga LT was still Defensive Player of the Year. Jerry Rice was in the league around this time. And Lawrence Taylor still won MVP over everybody. A defensive player. We had a couple close calls. J.J. Watt was one of them. J.J. Watt was close. But people talk about J.J. Payton threw for 50 plus touchdowns that year. It was hard to come back against that. It was hard. Even though J.J. Watt had a generational defensive player of the year, Peyton Manning had a generational offensive player of the year. Offensive plays. So you know how the MVP nowadays it's all quarterbacks. It's all quarterbacks. Like Saquon was close to winning it. It was like, you know what? We'll give it I think Josh Allen won that year. That was no Lamar. Josh Allen, Josh Allen won that year because this was the year before last season. Josh Allen won that year over Barkley and Lamar, which people said Lamar should have won that, which he should have won. This year was flat out Stafford. It was either Stafford or Drake May. Jonathan Taylor had a good case though for a little while, but remember the Colts ended up having a slow. But even though Myles Garrett didn't get any votes, he should have been voted too because he did break the all-time sacks record in the season with the fucking Cleveland Browns and having nothing but mediocre. Now that nigga's in LA. The Stafford. I pray to God. I pray to my Lord and Savior that we don't play the Rams. Wait, hold on. Do we play the Rams? Bills, Vikings, Chiefs, Jets, Broncos. Oh, thank God we don't play them. Thank God. Thank God. Shout out the NFC West. Best of luck over there, though. Back to the video.
Also led the
I had to check real
Giants
quick.
to
We don't
a
play
Super
them.
Bowl victory. Taylor
Over
was
the
just
Bills.
the second defensive player ever to win MVP, and we haven't seen another since.
You know, my dad always said it like this, you know, because he goes, LT's maybe like one of 5 people that truly changed the game of football. And I was like, well, what do you mean by that? He goes, in the old days, when the linebacker was on the end of the line of scrimmage, you said, hey, back, you block him. And he ended that. They were like, Joe Gibbs and the Redskins were like, we can't ask our back to block that guy.
You can point to numerous on-the-field moments that really stand out. And I'll talk about 2 of my favorites.
He was a leader
First,
too.
In 1986, Buddy Ryan was coaching for the Eagles, and after being dominated by Taylor just weeks prior, he decided that he was going to try and take Taylor out of the game with a huge crackback block by an offensive lineman. His plan became very evident.
He was Buddy Ryan, but nigga, is that Jeff Fisher? Nigga, is that Jeff Fisher? When the fuck was this? When the fuck did Jeff? He was on the Eagles at one point. You 8-8 demon motherfucker. I didn't realize he was on the Eagles at one point. By the way, speaking of this nigga was dirty as shit. That nigga Buddy Ryan after he left Chicago. Shit. Y'all think this programs I read in college football was bad? That nigga was worse than me.
Watch the replay. You can see an offensive lineman peel around looking
by
for
accident,
Taylor
by on
specifically
purpose.
to light him up. Well, Taylor wasn't fazed. Not only did he get a sack on the following play, he got a playing against the Saints. Lawrence Taylor severely tore his shoulder ligaments and detached his pectoral muscle after having his arm locked up with a Saints O-lineman. The damage almost certainly would have been the end of the game and possibly the season for most players. However, LT impossibly attempted to play with these injuries, and the results?
With one arm. Literally had one arm. Had one arm. A pec injury. Niggas was like, I don't want to play. You know, I'm out for the season. I'm just chill. I'm gonna hang out. LT, nigga, put me back in the game, bro. Put my shit in place. Make sure my shit good. I'm going back on that field, and we winning this game. Strip sack, interceptions, you name it, bro.
He finished with 7 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles in a grueling 13-12 victory. It's one of the most legendary injury games in any sport ever.
Lawrence Taylor is the best football player to ever play in the NFL.
For the majority of his career,
Tom Brady. Tom Brady, but if y'all say I'll still say Tom Brady, but if some people have Lawrence Taylor at number 1, I completely understand that. I understand that people said Deion Sanders or Lawrence Taylor. Those are the only 2 exceptions for me, bro. If you say Lawrence Taylor or Deion Sanders, understandable. I'm gonna say my goal is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. Still,
LT remained
but LT
as
is
one
up
of the
there.
most hailed defensive players in the league, as he once again led the Giants to another Super Bowl victory in 1990.
Yep.
There are the moments in sports where everything perfectly comes together in terms of a special coach and a special player. You have Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan, and of course, Bill Belichick and Lawrence Taylor. Parcells obviously deserves credit here as well, but it was Belichick's genius that really maximized LT's elite ability.
For somebody that knows football,
Belichick.
He's a bad man. He's a bad man.
The reason Bill Parcells deserves credit as well is because he was the main motivating factor in LT's career. Following their second Super Bowl together, Parcells retired, and LT admittedly was mentally checked out after that. and he was no longer the same player until he retired.
Bill Parcells will always be my guy. You know, no matter, what happens, number one on my list is always going to be Bill Parcells.
In what began as a strained relationship, ended up being the driving force in the most successful career of any defensive player in league history.
Yeah.
It made LT one of the icons of the 80s and early 90s. But of course, to make a video about Lawrence Taylor and talk strictly X's and O's dismisses half the story.
That nigga was wildin', bro.
Early on in his life, the one thing that he wouldn't allow was people to call him the name Larry. That was the name of some Joe Schmo who worked at a desk, and his life had an element of restraint. In contrast, as LT once said, quote, "I guess that I'm just a plain wild dude."
Take us back to your draft day. What do you remember?
I don't remember too much. I had 41 Coors Lights, so I couldn't tell you.
One of the most ironic things said about LT prior to his drafting was what head coach Ray Perkins said. Quote, "He was the cleanest player in the draft. By that I mean there was no rap on him." This is pretty hilarious looking back on because immediately LT had the Giants freaked out. Pretty quickly into his rookie year, the Giants took out a $2 million life insurance policy on him.
Nigga said at $2 million.
On and off the field behaviors. LT nearly
Smart.
died in a car accident as the result of speeding, and his former college coach said this about his on-field behavior. Quote, "As a freshman playing on special teams, he'd jump a good 6 or 7 feet in the air to block a punt, then land on the back of his neck. He was reckless, just reckless." The Giants GM at the time said that he would be surprised if Taylor lived past the age of 30. He was nicknamed Godzilla, which had more to do with the way he lived his life than what he did on the field. LT was no stranger to the party scene.
We saw LT at every party.
Teammates of his have been telling infamous LT stories for decades now.
Listen, I know this is a podcast and all this. I still can't tell you some of the Lawrence Taylor stories.
Here's what one of his former teammates said about him. Quote, "The coaches were asking, anybody seen Lawrence?" So trainer Ronnie Barnes had one of his men go to LT's hotel room. The guy's out on the floor. Tequila. As we were coming in from warm-ups, they brought him in. They were putting ice towels on him, giving him coffee. They dressed him and taped his ankles. The son of a bitch had 4 sacks.
Nigga! This nigga was drunk off tequila! Nigga had tequila! Tequila! You understand how strong that liquor is? Nigga, they dragged him, put ice on him, wrapped him up, made sure he was ready, and had 4 sacks. While hungover. Nigga, some niggas can't even get out of bed. Nigga, Lawrence Taylor got up, said, "Oh shit, hold on, I got pads on. Alright, bet, time to play." You ain't never gonna see a motherfucker like that, bro. Nigga was a flat out party animal. Same with Dion. Dion was a party animal too. Prime time. That nigga will, even though that nigga wouldn't do the crazy shit, because he's a God first man, and Dion wasn't. Dion was more like a party animal. Alright, there's a Lawrence Taylor party animal. There's a Deion Sanders party animal. A Lawrence Taylor party animal is a crazy, reckless motherfucker that you do not want to fuck with. Deion's partying is a chill, laid back. You want to be around him because that nigga that has good vibes. That nigga got the swag. That nigga is cool as fuck. Same with Lawrence Taylor. Difference is, one's a crash out. The other one isn't. And if I'm being honest, I hang out with both of them. Fuck it, bro.
Him and taped his ankles.
Fuck it, bro.
The son of a bitch had 4
Fuck
sacks.
it. I'll
Boy,
still.
if I would have got sleep at night, I would have been
Yeah.
Taylor was no stranger to partying and drinking, but also beginning his rookie year, he began to do drugs, specifically coke, which later turned to crack. At first, it was just fun and games in the party scene, but it developed into a much larger issue later on. By his 3rd year in the NFL, LT was smoking 1 ounce of crack a day. In today's money, that would be about $700 to $1,800 per day.
There were times I...
An ounce of crack a day. An ounce of crack a day.
I'd be standing in the huddle, And instead of thinking what defense we were playing, I'd be thinking about smoking crack after the game.
Well, you gotta understand though, it didn't affect my play.
Even when attempting to use other teammates' piss for drug tests, LT was busted twice for failing drug tests, which resulted in suspensions. If he were to fail a third, it could cost him his career. So LT had enough willpower at the time to put drugs to the side while he was still playing. But he also had other habits. He loved prostitutes, and he would spend over $1,000 to be with up to 6 of them on any given day.
I heard Carl Banks tell this a little while ago.
He showed up in
at a
handcuffs.
team meeting. Yes, right. I think he was.
But he didn't get arrested. It was something else.
He was having fun with maybe a companion upstairs in his hotel
with handcuffs,
and they lost the key.
Oh my God!
Right.
In connection with his partying and just overall reckless antics, LT was notorious for showing up late and sleeping through meetings.
Good then, better now. 6 health essentials in every bowl.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you ready? All right, $118 for car insurance. That's how much I was paying, okay? I picked up...
I remember when I went over after one of those meetings at the Woodcliff Lake Hilton and told Parcells that you were late for the meeting. And he looked at me and he said, well, why did you start the meeting before he got there?
And then in the meetings, I didn't learn nothing from him there because this cat would come in, get a towel, roll it up, and lay on the floor and go to sleep the entire meeting. And then the coaches would, wake him up, turn on the light at the end, not at the end of the meeting.
They knew better not to wake him up during.
Yes.
Right.
And then we'd go, hey, LT, we put in this blitz and that blitz. Is that okay with you? Like, why the hell are you asking him? We all in here awake for the last 2 hours. This cat's sleeping. You got to ask if it's okay. And if it's not, I guarantee you, they would have changed it.
I heard stories that he would be sleeping through certain team meetings, and then they'd wake him up and he'd know every play.
Yes, that's true.
Wow.
Do you understand? Like, if you have a player like that, what the fuck can you do? What the fuck can you do? You mean to tell me the nigga could go to sleep during meetings, party all fucking night, and have 4 sacks, and still be the best defensive player of the year? Just don't get into federal trouble, but that's all that matters, bro. That's literally all I gotta say, bro.
LT also would forget what day it was.
Did you see that recent one that Lawrence Taylor drove by Giant Stadium? You saw the lights on and he was like, oh, fuck, I have a game?
I've heard some of the craziest stories, and I'm gonna ask to hear out of your mouth. One story I heard, I don't know how true it is. Okay. You was late to a game, and I think you was driving, I think they said it was a Ferrari.
Yeah, but I got there before the end of the first quarter. I got there in time.
And where did you park the Ferrari? Did you park it or did you just leave it on the highway?
You talking about that story?
Nigga said talking about that story. This nigga is wild, bro. This nigga is wild, bro.
Honestly, it's unbelievable to hear these types of stories because for almost any other athlete to hardly ever sleep, party all the time, forget what day game day is, and
you end up being a bust. You end up being a bust.
That's a recipe for a crash and burn career. Yet, LT continued to be the best defensive player in the league by a mile. But despite having his vices somewhat under control during his NFL career, his actions would catch up with him after he retired.
I saw Coke as the only bright spot in my future. You're right. Lawrence, you're a legend.
I know.
You got a ton of money. Coke is the only bright spot in your future?
Because that's how powerful the drug is.
Once football was over, Taylor's life really began to fall apart. He was arrested on multiple occasions, which included being busted for drugs in both 1996 and 1997, getting 5 years of probation in 2000 for filing false tax returns and tax evasion, being convicted of drug paraphernalia in 2001.
You were lying on the couch in a fetal position, hugging a pillow and crying.
Oh, I was about the crying part.
And then in 2011, he pleaded guilty to charges of sexual misconduct and patronizing a prostitute who ended up being underage, which had been unknown to LT. Lawrence Taylor has dealt with legal and addiction issues for decades. He has struggled to let go of the reckless, crazy lifestyle that he took up in his early 20s. Unfortunately, what made him great on the football field has been detrimental to his life outside of the game. Now, as of today, it seems as if he has mostly stabilized his life. He had a recent health scare caused by decades of abuse, but LT seems to be doing better now. To put a positive spin on things, he is 67 years old, which is a lot older than the age that the GM who drafted him thought he would make it to.
And the nigga was so good, and the nigga has so much of a crazy life. We got two of the most violent sports games ever. Not even. We got the most violent sports game ever. And it's not even close. And you know who the fuck was the cover athlete and the face of that?
If I never get back in there, I will kick your
That motherfucker right there. That motherfucker right there. Lawrence Taylor, man. Once in a generational specimen. Someone that we'll never see someone like Lawrence Taylor ever again. And I'm glad he's doing good. He's still, again, I'll still say the greatest defensive player of all time. And I'm glad he's doing better. They say he wouldn't live past 30. They're about 67 years old. Hey, man. I'm glad he turned his life around. But also on a side note, Lawrence, can we a little conversation real quick, Lawrence? I mean, I know nowadays it's probably hard to ask this, but can y'all get in talks of redoing the Blister League? Or just remastering it? No? I mean, it's a good idea. If they could remaster Blister League too, but you know, social media nowadays and everyone be like, this game is too violent. Oh my god, what about the kids, man? Fuck them kids. I was a kid playing Blister League too. I didn't give a fuck. And by the way, I will be dropping the receiver, cornerback shit soon. And probably parts like Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, this, that, and the third. But I see you guys later. Like, comment, sub, guys with the channel notification if you guys are new. I'm out of here. 2 up, 2 down. Deuces. An ounce of crack?